All right, welcome, Brands by Integra Podcast. Episode number, what number are we at, Max? 4 or
I think
5?
this is the fourth.
This is the fourth one. This is great. All right, Chuck, you should have been first, but
I
you're
don't know why
fourth.
it's not first. There's a resentment. Let
I
me just jot
I
that down
I
on
know
my
there's a
list.
reason. um, Today we have Chuck Madden, who is the Swiss Army knife of Brands by Integra, and does. I mean, I don't even want to say a title because he's just kind of does everything, steps in wherever needed, selfless, also helping, hundreds of people in the recovery space, and also partner and, overseer of the Redemption House in Danvers and all that good stuff. So, and Fresh Start Housing right now, which is going to be changed to Integra Care. So, Chuck, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jim. Good to the official Jim D'Amico. I love the background. I haven't seen this new office yet in St. Pete. That's a better view than the last office I saw down there a couple
Yeah.
months ago.
The last office was right over the bus stop, so we got to hear the bus driver singing on his 2:30 break
I
every day.
love that. Well, I'll see that in a couple. I'm coming down next week, so
Oh,
I'll be able
beautiful.
to check out the new spot. Yeah.
Everyone loves a new spot. I said, it's so funny because I moved into this building less than a year, probably about a year ago, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
less. And nobody came to visit or anything. And now that we have this space, we have agents here, had a
Yeah.
recruit come in yesterday, signed a new person. So St. Pete is definitely on the rise.
Yeah, it's a great town. I mean, it's a great spot. It's a great place to have a second flagship, right? Boston and St. Pete, dual flagships, perfect markets for us.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on, Chuck, and kind of take us through a day in the life.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I love this. I don't know what a day in the life is going to be until I get up. My to-do list gets added to when I see the emails in the morning. So everything from yesterday, I started off with some of the guys in the sober house with some stuff at a property management meeting. Wrote a couple of letters for some dispute resolution with some agents trying to avoid some legal fees. Went and had a meeting with Dan up at the Silva office for a couple hours, coming up with some better strategies on property management. Oh, came back in the afternoon, cut the grass. So I've done the lawn. We've done the lawnmower from 4:30 to 5:30, showing the guys. I think I laugh about that, right? And I know your thoughts can be, why are you cutting the grass? I'm cutting the grass because it's part of Integra, right? So the sober house is part of us. This is culture. And what's culture? Culture is you do what needs to be done, right? So do I, as the partner, need to be cutting the grass? No. But if the grass needs to be cut, there's nothing better than cutting it, right? Growing up Catholic, there's that Catholic guilt, that's magic. So I cut the grass yesterday, didn't say anything to anybody. This morning, I got 4 guys out mowing by hand, doing different things, getting it caught up. So, I'm in mortgage, I'm in property management, I'm in real estate. Yesterday, you and I were texting last night. What's breakage? Like
Mm,
what's this? How do I get better capture with mortgage? Like getting more into that side of understanding the metrics and the math and the growth and all of it. It's been, I think, coming up on 3 years now. It's been
wow.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been fun. It's been great having you here. Let's talk a little bit about the Redemption House. We're in our almost third year, second year into the Redemption House now.
We're about we opened in March of 20, oof, 2.5 years.
5.
So 24.
Oh, 24. Okay.
Yeah. So we're two years in a few months. We've put up about 100 guys through there, sober living, peer supported sober living. So we provide the roof and the internet and a program, and they learn how to live. And it's been fantastic, right? We've helped a lot of guys, and we help a lot of guys that don't come to the house, right? I mean, you and I've been on this road for a long time together, and we get a lot of phone calls. And I can't tell you how many people reached out to me at the event in Boston over 2 days. I bet you 30 people came up to me, found me out to talk about recovery or a question or help. Not many people asking about my real estate stuff or the mortgage stuff, but a lot of people asking about, hey, what do I do? My cousin, my uncle, my sister, my brother. And we like doing that to be able to help out. So again, that's part of the culture.
No, that's great. No, that is nice. It's something that it's a part of who we are, but it's also a part of what the company is now, and it provides that shelter space, that confidential, safe space for real life people with real life problems similar to the ones that we've probably experienced, and having a place for them to go and talk. And how many calls we get a week, just from friends and people in the company that have these same challenges with a family member or themselves or what have you. So it has been a nice, kind of keeps us grounded, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, we make it safe to talk about it, right? So I've been very forward facing on my recovery for 15 or 20 years, as you know. And you leaning into this maybe 3 or 4 years ago, right? You never kept it secret, but you really leaned into it. And
This
that
will
was a
be
game
this will be
changer.
six years into my lean in. Believe it or
And to
not.
the
Imagine it's
but
been 6 years.
well, I remember the conversations before that, right? So it was
Yeah.
and the fear of, oh my God, how can I possibly let people know? I mean, it's one thing to not to hide it. It's another thing to lean into it. But when you lean into it, what happens is you make it safe for other people. If Jim D'Amico, who owns this whole company and is this bigger than life personality, if he can own it, why can't I? If he can talk about it, why can't I? There's nothing to be ashamed about. And that's the beauty of this, right? To be comfortable and say, hey, it's okay. We can help. And that's the other thing, Jim, you and I are lucky. We've navigated this thing together, and we have some other family members. But a lot of people, when they're first getting into this challenge, they don't know what to do. They
Oof.
just don't know what to do.
I remember first getting in. It's definitely a journey,
It's a
but
journey, but we can make it easier to say, okay,
yeah.
hey, come with me. Let me show you how to go. I mean, this thing's hidden, right? Recovery's hidden, and
Hmm.
people just don't know what to do. So, I mean, just yesterday, I was in the new Fed office, and I was able to talk to Eric, and we had a friend of his had reached out, and we got him into treatment, and with a couple of fails and starts, and he called me yesterday. Can I come to your house? So I
Mm.
secured a bed for him, and he's coming next week. We've had calls from other states to deal with family members that are going through either looking for inpatient treatment recommendation or whatever. Almost by default, with the culture, we're becoming an employee assistance program, which I love. I mean,
Right.
that energizes me.
Right. No, that's great. All right. We'll shift let's shift gears. It's a great thing that you're doing, and it's great having you here to help people that need that support. But let's shift gears into um our exciting new Sarasota um growth.
Super excited about that. So going down there next week, we tried Sarasota launch a few years ago. I think we're in a completely different position today. We're getting a really, I mean, this is going to be the best office we have. I mean, it's expensive. We better make money because
Hmm.
it's a class A space, as you know. But we have a racehorse coming on for New Fed, and I've got maybe 20 recruit meetings for real estate, Thursday, Friday, and Monday next week. So super excited for that. I mean, that was where I burned my life to the ground in Sarasota and rebuilt it in the recovery space. The guy we're bringing in, I originally met 15 years ago because I was called by him and his wife to help get his 15-year-old son sober. I was a sober coach, and that's how we originally met. So,
Hmm.
and again, it all ties back to culture. So next week, Thursday and Friday, I'll be with the dad, and we'll be all business, meeting with recruits, meeting with Rob, and then on Friday night, I'll be going with his son Radek where he gets his 8-year medallion, and we're going to go and grab some dinner. So, I mean, what's more culture and family than that?
Yeah, right. No, that's great. That's great. I'm excited. I went down there last week, looked at the space. It is a fabulous space. No build out, which is nice. Great location, and yeah, I mean, we better make money. This is a big move. We have quite a few things on the horizon in Florida. We got a couple acquisitions, one up in the Orlando region, one over on Palm Coast. We've
Yeah.
got this one going in Sarasota. St. Pete's growing. I mean, Florida's interesting in the sense of there's a lot of realtors in Florida. There's as many realtors in Florida as there is people. So you end up with just about everybody, either they or someone in their immediate circle is a realtor, and usually more than one, right? Like, so chasing the real estate market in Florida is a challenge. It's not set up like New England. There's not, the town of Saugus, how much an average sale price is. And in Florida, just in St. Pete alone, I mean, 3 blocks could be 3 million bucks. So I
Yep.
mean, you have just this zany um transitions throughout the cities. I mean, where I am in downtown St. Pete, you've got $3 million condos. You drive west to the beach, and you drive through $200,000 houses, and then they start to increase again, and then you're at $2 million condos on the beach. So I mean, it's crazy the way Florida works. You've been here. Um, Delray Beach, similar. Once
Yeah.
you get like 3 miles off the coast, it changes. So the cool thing about that is there's a lot of different markets. There's a lot of different niches you can tap into. I mean, I feel like there's tremendous amount of opportunity here, and I think that Florida is normalizing its pricing right now, which I think Florida comes up and down, up and down. So I'd say they've been on a 3-year down, at least a 2-year down, probably three since the hurricane. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, it'll be great to have you down here growing in Sarasota.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking at, again, that's Sarasota. I mean, the location of the office from where you are there to the Sarasota office can't be 28 minutes door to door, right? So this is all kind of centralized. It's just a great launching point. We're right on the highway. So you can go. Sarasota is directly between the two fastest growing airports in the country. Tampa and Fort Myers are the two fastest
Mm.
growing airports. So that means the people are coming. And then we have the I-4 corridor over to some new business that you're getting over on the other side on the East Coast, and then up to Jacksonville, which opens up all of South Georgia, right? So that's a market that Rob's really interested in. I think it's a market that we can really do well in. So I'm looking at this not just as a Sarasota, that's where we're going to stop, but really as a place to grow and to be able to integrate, make it a true Brands by Integra office where we are coming out of the gate to avoid breakage. We're going to keep the agents that we bring over. We're going to do a better job of capture to the extent we can, from real estate to mortgage and to title, and then introduce that family concept. So I think I'm excited, super excited.
Oh, that's great. Um, yeah, so let's talk a little bit about property management, Boston. Definitely been, I would say, it's definitely a great heartbeat for the real estate company, because I think it lends itself to more listings, more sales, um, revenue stability. I think when you're going into new markets, I think property management is something we're trying to add in everywhere we go. But there's a dark side to property management too. So tell me, you've been kind of keeping that keeping that light on in Boston. What's that like?
It's been interesting. It's been challenging. It's been a Rubik's cube, a puzzle. So property management, had no experience with it. You called, hey, I need some help. What can I do? So there's days over there where I'm literally picking up dead rats, or shin high in sewage because we have a pipe break. Um, there's just a lot. There's a lot. I think we have a great opportunity. That was an inherited project. I think you acquired a company that was an old school property management, had a lot of stuff. So there was some of the policies and procedures weren't there. So there was some things missing. And a lot of the assets are investor owned, and Boston's a unique market, right? So the assets that we had under management, a lot of them are investor and rental. And Boston's such a hot rental market for students that if people are paying, if the kids are going to rent, people aren't putting money in, and no one wants to know about improving the asset or anything like that. It's everything's deferred maintenance, all of it. So
Mm,
just taking phone calls and being responsive. I tell the team, control the controllables. Here's what we can control. If people call us, we can communicate. Even if we don't have a good answer, we can call them back with the answer that we have. You can't avoid. So building the relationships, and now we have a stable core of, I think, decent clients. Some of them we may in fact fire when we replace some new ones, but we're going to try to go more to let's say we're in a C workforce housing class right now. See if we can go up a little bit. We're never going to go to, I don't want to go to, and I don't think the market is there for us for that A class, full concierge, Ritz Carlton, Burroughs Wharf kind of thing. But there's definitely a C plus B minus somewhere in the middle where there's owners and trustees take more pride in their building. We can do some proactive things. And more importantly, we can get some real estate sales and rentals from the building itself, right? To really penetrate and make it feed the other avenues of the company, which we haven't been able to do at all in downtown Boston.
right, right. No, and I think with the added value of the Silva Associates acquisition, that gives us more stability in the HOA space, which allows us the ability to handle more projects, handle more associations. We have a staff there that killer staff. I mean, that whole operation is phenomenal. And with that, it could connect the two, right? Portfolios. So the portfolio in Boston. So it's funny, right? So you have a portfolio in Boston, you have a portfolio in Tewksbury, and then you have a portfolio in New Hampshire. So you have like 20-minute, 30-minute drives each way, right? So 30 minutes from Boston to Tewksbury, 30 minutes from Tewksbury to Derry, and then just a tremendous amount of territory in between. We could be picking
Yeah.
up HOAs in Woburn, Medford, Malden, all the way down into, Revere, Chelsea, and places that places where, I definitely cut my teeth.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good opportunity. And the thing I like most about the business is it allows us to strengthen our staffing
Yes.
because I mean, there's 20 people in property management that wouldn't be here if we didn't have property management, and
I
that
like
means
it.
we can feed more families, we can have more people feed their families, I
Yeah.
should say, even better, right? And then people who can achieve and grow their business. But think about the agents that can convert into property management. Some agents aren't going to do 20 million in sales volume a year, but maybe they'll do 5, 6, 7 and work full-time position in the property management side. And that's where I see this as a huge home run for us as a company and a family of businesses.
Agreed. That's I'm embarrassed to say yesterday was the first time I actually made it to the Silva office. So I sat up there for a
Well,
few hours with the team. I had to put out some fires in the city before I could stabilize what I had before I could figure out the next step. But yesterday's meeting was specific to that. Show me your office. Show me your policies and procedures. Let me see your contract. Let me meet your team.
right,
Show me your associations and how do we grow South? I didn't know until yesterday that he has an association in Peabody, right? Not far from where I am right now on the Danvers office. There's one in Medford. I had no idea. So yeah,
right.
we exactly that. We're going to grow Boston North, um, right up to Southern New Hampshire. It's one market, and
Yeah.
it's vertical and horizontal, right? So Silver's more horizontal. Boston's going to be going up, and
Mm.
it's all good, right? Elevators and basements and City of Boston stuff. We know all those people, so to leverage those relationships is fantastic. And it's a great opportunity. And now in Florida, the same thing, right? When I say that Brands by Integra, real estate, mortgage, property management, title, all out of that new space. And we're going to do it all.
Right.
We're going to market everything. The worst thing I
Right.
hear is when people say, "Oh, I didn't know you had a property management company," or
Right.
"Oh,
Right.
oh my God, we have title." That's on me. That's on us. I'm not telling the story well
Right.
enough, right?
We got to do the same in Salem, New Hampshire, with that new space up there at Tuscan Village,
Yeah.
which
Yes. And
I'm sure you're happy you don't have to go to anymore.
that was something.
Yeah, that was a challenge. No more of those, please.
But that's the beauty. You and I, like, people will say to me, "What do you do?" And I say, we do what we do. Well, how is it working for Jim? I said, I talk to Jimmy sometimes not at all in a day, and sometimes 15 times in a day. And sometimes it's Jim the boss, sometimes it's Jim the partner, sometimes it's Jim the
Yeah.
friend, sometimes it's Jim the recovery guy. We have this ability, and I think we've done a pretty good job at it over 3 years to know, okay, what's this conversation? This isn't the screwing around
Right.
conversation. This is, what's the breakage, or why is this guy yelling at me? Right. And then there's other times like, "Hey Jimmy, my ass is on fire. I got a text message. I need, you got a minute."
Yeah.
And that's cool. You need
You know
that
what?
shit.
I gotta tell the story. You've been here now for 3 years, right? So I remember when you called and I was like, yeah, no, come on in. Because you've always helped me with this business and you've never asked for anything and you had your own business and you still do have your own businesses, but this was a great opportunity. And so I was like, yeah, just come, we'll figure it out. Funny, Eric, I think it was Portnoy that was like, I had to come in July of last year to take over NewFed. And I had to come in and I set up my office and I went up to that top floor loft and I was like, oh, this is nice. Yeah, I think I'll take this spot. Who sits up here? And they were like, nobody. I was like, all right, I'm going to take this desk. And I made myself an office. And, the outside of it was like all cubes and everything else. And because I'm not there all the time, I think I set my stuff up and I left. And I think I came back to Florida. And I came back a few weeks later and you had set up a desk right next to mine in the same office. And then we had a couch and a conference table and everything was set up. And now we have this like awesome, place where everybody, like, before you came into NewFed and before I came into NewFed, nobody was in the office. Like the place was a ghost town. And now it's like the hub where everything is. My son works at the front desk now, and we've got people in the offices. And I just love how we can breathe life into a location. And when we come and we can breathe life into a room. And that's not something that post COVID a lot of people are doing. A lot of people
Yeah.
are just staying home, working in their home office and stuff. And I love that we're in the field and in the trenches. I think that that's what makes us and the rest of this leadership team successful, is just being in the trenches, being in the office.
And there's an authenticity. So going back to the 3 years ago, it's more than that, right? I was in desperate shape, right? We've been friends a long time, and I got to a point where I just needed to do something different, and I needed a job. And I'm like, "Dude, I need help. I need a job." And your answer was, "I've been waiting for you to ask. Come on over
Mm.
tomorrow." And that was what you've done for me in 3 years. Recovery and sobriety does a lot, right? I was on the top of a mountain, as you know, a long time ago, and
Yeah.
fell off. And I've been really good at sobriety for a long time. But when sobriety steals from you confidence and the ability to dream and the ability to really have faith in yourself, to take some risks and to know who you are, that's what it robbed from me for 10 years sober.
Mm.
So the last 3 years, you've given that back to me. Now I know who the F I am again. I'm reminded. Now, the sad part is I was there the whole time. I couldn't see it. But getting back in and being active and being helpful.
I think being
Um,
around people outside of that space, being around normal people, right? Or what they
yeah,
consider normal people, right? People who
yeah,
aren't in
yeah,
those rooms, right? You be around those people and be a leader. I think it brings back that confidence. That was one thing. I didn't have a choice. I had to continue to do the job, or I
Yeah.
was going to be, I
Yeah.
was going to be in trouble. So being around the normal people and being able to still be a leader, I think, is what a lot of our people need, because there's a lot of good leadership in that in those rooms, right? And I don't think that,
Yes.
a lot of people have that opportunity, because it's just, every we all know what it feels like to be
Yeah.
new, and be like, oh, and there it is tough for confidence and all that stuff. But like having, I mean, look at what we've been able to do just in 3 years. Imagine, like, I mean,
Yeah.
we've got people that we're helping on a daily basis, inside and outside, and
Yeah.
that's like the cool part. And I do like that, and I love working with you anyways. I mean, we met originally drunk at a Bruins game. Actually, we met at a country club party,
Yeah.
but we hooked up drunk at a Bruins game, and we put together a big development deal. Probably still to this day the biggest development deal I've ever done. And in my 20s, we spent weekly nights at town meetings,
Yeah.
selling a development plan, traveling to New York City to meet with the president of Hasbro, and like suing the eminent domain claims and sitting in lawyers' offices constantly. And like,
Yep.
I think I was 28 years old. I mean, it was almost 30 years ago. And we did that. And
Yeah.
that was our first
Me, you, and your dad. It was.
yeah,
I tell that story a lot. We made our first millions together,
right.
drunk, between the second and third period at a Bruins game in the back of a napkin with Jack.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the
and
truth.
and it is the truth. And we it was a lot of fun. And I always say, but then I immediately gave it all away to the
Yeah.
IRS and the ex-wife. So
Yeah.
it's, it easy come, easy go, but like, not easy. And
Yeah.
but those were fun times, and we had those times. So that's
Until they
great.
weren't. We were born without brakes, so it was fun until it wasn't. You'll like this. I was sitting with Dan Furter yesterday, and I had a great opportunity. We had a phenomenal business dinner 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a 2 hour dinner, and we were an hour and 45 minutes of pure business, which is not usual. There's usually a lot of banter. We were right into it, which was awesome. But yesterday we were laughing about his history. And I said, oh, I'll tell you a funny story. I went to one of these conferences, and he said, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pat Fortin, I was there. I said, oh.
Oh, he was? That's funny. That's funny. It took me I don't know how many years ago that was, but it took me that many years later to actually have Pat talk to me again. We went to the Hockey Hall of Fame together in Toronto last time I
Oh,
was
my,
at the
yeah,
multiplistic thing.
it's
So anyway, no, fun times, and these are definitely more rewarding, that's for sure. And it's awesome to have you here. And we got to do this again, because we have so many more stories to tell.
well. I
And
want to just say this because this I think the biggest. So I was just on the company huddle and all the beautiful, graphics and numbers and billions and states and all that. I think the thing that you have that is maybe your most valuable asset, this company, is your culture. The culture of authenticity and people first and relationships and accountability and just do the next right thing. And that goes from your dad to you to me mowing the grass yesterday, right? Those
mm,
people, you find that, I talk about your dad all the time. What's he like? Well, I don't know. You want to see him? Go to Chelsea. He'll be a guy in work boots driving a white van, putting in a water heater. And he could
yeah,
helicopter to work if he wanted to. But that's,
yeah,
that's what he does. He does what needs to be done. And we've built a culture. You've built this culture of people doing that. You're showing up and you do, what do you need to do? If it needs to be done, do it.
right.
Just do it. And that's unique. So we're going to push that forward because for the right people, when they get involved in stuff like that, if we go people first, which we are, business takes care of itself, man. We
Yeah,
care,
no, you got to
business will
do.
take care of itself.
That's right. And I will say that that's something that I was talking to someone this morning, like, oh my God, how do you do it? It's not really me anymore. I mean, it's me, but like as you grow, you can actually put more great people around you. And the more great people you put around you, the better things will go. And, people don't, Sandy was telling me yesterday, Elon Musk hired his first 3,000 people himself. And it's all
Yeah.
about hiring A's and hiring A's. And if you hire A's, they're going to hire A's. And if you hire B's and C's, they're going to hire B's and C's. And so I think that that's something that changed for this company, probably a few years ago, where it was like, okay, you know what? Let's pick the right people and let's invest. And I think we learned that probably the hard way at NewFed, and I think that's where it really had to be, because that got to the point, with Brian's situation, that got to the point of, you can't physically possibly do this on your own. So you're going to
Nope.
need to rely on some people. So that was where, Brian used to run NewFed. I was running C21. And then when he had his accident, there's no way that one person could run both companies. And so, so we went through the ups and downs in that. But I will say, New Fed, aiming at $1 billion in funded volume this year, and Century 21 aiming for $1 billion on the Brands by Integra side. I think, sky's the limit. I feel like this next, it's going to be a fun few years ahead for sure.
Yeah, and that's it's a great segue and a great way to wrap it up. So I'm a lot more involved in the mortgage side. My son might be coming over, doing some VA stuff. He just got past the test. My brother's looking at it. But we take the same philosophy. We have 17 beds at a sober house, and we had some learnings early on. We just took the next guy. We got an application. We did the interview. We took them in because we didn't want to pick winners and losers. Over the last year, here's our motto. We don't take the next guy, we take the right guy, because the wrong guy in a house can ruin everything. And by putting all the right guys in the house, the entire house gets better. Everybody's recovery gets better. So whether you have 17 guys living in a sober house, or $1 billion mortgage company, or a $3 billion real estate company, surround yourself with quality people and care, and everything else will take care of itself.
Right. Agreed. All right. Well, thanks, Chuck. And we'll see you again next time.
Yeah, next time I better be one. If we start a second podcast and I'm fourth, I'm not
Yeah.
coming on.
No,
So
you'll be one.
see ya.
All
Talk
right.
to you later on.
Sounds
Bye.
good. See you guys.
All right, man.